Good morning from the kitchen table. Real for education, not fake news. A cuppa on the job here. Getting a bit better from the flu. I was driving along in the van yesterday and the radio. That's the only time I listened to the radio, and I was flicking through the stations and I came on to some of the Irish stations anyway. And Ivana Bacik was on it. Now, if you go to the list of TDs, Tráchta Dála, that's Irish politicians who voted for the European Migration Pact. This is a pact to distribute migrants all over the EU. If we weren't in the EU, if they arrived in Italy, it was Italy's problem. It arrived into Germany, it was Germany's problem. They couldn't ship them on to us. But one of the downsides of being in the EU is they can horse their whole migrants off over to whoever is the softest touch. And we have a never-loving migrant Fianna Fáil leader in Micheál Martin, and the Fine Gael crowd are the same, etc. But anyway, a while back I was at a meeting in my town, and there was a lot of people at it. I think I said before, roughly 290 or thereabouts, and one man got up to speak in favour of migration, and he was shouted down by the floor. The organisers weren't really expecting that to happen, and I said let him speak, but when there was a lull and he got a bit of speaking, I asked him the question, how many migrants does he want to come in here? And he wouldn't answer. And we're criticised after for not letting him speak and all that. It's very difficult to do. But the thing is, he can always speak to me now anyway. But the thing about it is that Ivana Bacik was on, and she wants to stop any cap on migrants coming into Ireland. Now, bear in mind, a large portion of the migrants are from Ukraine, and only a portion of Ukraine is under attack. The eastern provinces were peopled with a majority of Russian-speaking people. Okay, now more and more of it's coming under attack now, and there's talk now that Putin has taken over the town of Odessa, and is it Kherson? I forget the name of these places; they're difficult to pronounce, and so that's the story. But up to now, they're only taking them from part of it. Now, there's 45 million people in Ukraine, so, I mean, if they're all going to come here, that'll tell you the scale of the problem. But Ivana Bacik does not want any cap on the number of migrants. She wants any amount, and as there's potentially at least 1 billion in the next 2 years in Ireland, that's 1 billion people. That's 1,000 million people she wants into Ireland. That's what she said. I heard her on the radio. No limit, no limit. Now that should alarm people, because everywhere I go now, people see me in shops and things like that, and in the farm stores buying tools and that. And they're all extremely worried. And so I think I was ahead of the show here. You'll see the occasional commentary here underneath on my videos, all smart Alex and all lefties, and I don't really object to them. Left-wingers. They're beginning to be put to the test. The real feature about the left and the right and about socialism is that socialism is telling voters, or telling people who have no vote, that you're going to bring the poorer and the less well off and the oppressed and the financially oppressed up and make them into normal economic entities, which is not what they do. When they get into power, they bring in policies to make bring everyone down, and if you're on the lower rung of the ladder, it becomes harder and harder to get up. The ordinary people that I know, and I worked in Dublin too for a good while, and I know other towns, I know Dundalk and Monaghan and all that well. The ordinary people maybe who have big families, doing the best they can, getting it hard to educate and all that, those ordinary people, they produce children, and most of those children go out and marry and get involved in the economy, and I'll move a bit here to stop the glare in the economy, and they eventually want to move up to be normal taxpayer, householder, car owner people whose own children will receive an education if they want it, or else that they'll go on to be plumbers, fitters, mechanics, which are very, very admirable trades and very necessary. And so the thing about it is that I'll do this again.